Hi guys, it's Sarah from Book Nerds and Fangirls, and today I'm coming at you with the mid-year book Freakout tag. Now I'm going to expose myself a little here. I've only read about 8 books so far this year. I'm halfway through, like, maybe 3 or 4 books, so maybe I'll get more. My goal for the year is 20, mostly because I do have a very vigorous schedule. I'm also an essential employee, so I have been working throughout all this coronavirus season. So I'm shocked when I actually have time to read one book. Now, the month of June has actually been different for me, because so far in the month of June, I've got through 4 different books, which I think it's just mostly a summer thing for me. I love reading in the summer. The summer and December and January are the times where I read the most books. So I've gotten through 4 books, but altogether I've read 8, and I'm halfway through like 3 of them. So if I have repeat answers for all these, I apologize. But let's go ahead and let's get into the tag. Now the first question is obviously the best book you've read so far in 2020. This is a very polarizing opinion. I know I'm probably in the unpopular opinion about this book because I love it so much, but that's Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Now, I feel like you either love this book to death or you hate it. I've listened to both sides of the review where people just don't enjoy this book, or to people who absolutely adore this book. I'm in the latter. Well, not the latter. I'm in the opinion of people who absolutely love this book. I love the relationship in this book. I love how it portrays grief, and I believe, and mental health representation, and I also love, like, the powerful friendship in this book. Like, there's just, like, so many different elements in this book that I do enjoy. I'm not gonna get too in-depth about my actual feelings about this book because I am posting a spoiler review, a 2-part spoiler review, by the way, about my thoughts and opinions on Crescent City. So if you're interested in that, I'll be dropping that a little bit later in the week. But I'm, like, super excited for it. Like, usually I'm one of those people who, if I love something, I could gush about it for hours, and this was definitely a book that I gushed about for hours. My husband, like, literally looked at me reading this the other day, and I was talking to him about it because he doesn't read the same things I do, so he doesn't get spoiled for anything. I don't read the same things he does, so I don't get spoiled for anything. We just talk to each other about the books that we like because we both like separate genres of books. It's just the way we are. So we talk to each other about the plot and other stuff. And my husband told me, I haven't genuinely seen you, like, super happy about talking about a book ever since An Ember in the Ashes. That's when I realized I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of my favorite series. Now, Sarah J. Maas series, I tend to either like them or not like them. Case in point, I love A Court of Thorns and Roses series by her. It's like my 3rd favorite series. I believe this one might top it. It's a 3-book series, I believe, is what it's set to be. This one might top it. This is actually one of my favorite first novels from her. And, I'm shocked that people, are shocked that people have polarizing opinions about this book, because it happened with A Throne of Glass, and it happened with Agatar. I just believe that her first books don't tend to be very, likable, I'm gonna say, but that's because she tries to put a lot of the world building in her first books, and there's a lot of things about Sarah J. Maas books that I don't like, and a lot of things that I do like. So I'm just gonna go about this and say I love A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I'm so excited that we're getting the 4th one in January of 2021, I believe. I think it's either the book is coming out that time, or that's going to be when the title's released. We don't have any confirmed dates for the 4th one, but we know it's going to be in 2021. And I'm super excited for that, as well as the second Crescent City. That's probably going to go out in 2021. And I'm super excited about it. But I'm also on the polarizing opinion that I hate Throne of Glass. It's like one of my least favorite books of all time. I can't stand Selena from Throne of Glass. Obviously, I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate in the comments for that one, but I just don't get the love for her. Probably she's one of those characters where you hate them at first, but you grow to love them. But I don't really feel like going through 3 books where I just don't like her, only to end up liking her. Like, you have to do that in, like, the second book for me to actually like them, and so far I'm reading, like, 30% in the way of Crown of Midnight, and I literally am probably gonna DNF it, because I can't stand her at some point, so sorry for everyone who loves that series. It's just not for me. I don't think she's a bad character, she's just not one of my favorites, and I'd rather read Bryce's or Farrah's point of view. It's just my personal preference, and I spent a lot of time on this question, so I'm gonna digress, and we're gonna get on to the second one. Look forward to more of my thoughts here in the weeks after. Okay, second one is best sequel you've read so far in 2019. So I said that I've read like 4 different books this month, and 3 of those books were the Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black. I was really in the mood for enemies to lovers, so I picked up the Cruel Prince trilogy, and I think the best sequel so far that I've read is The Wicked King by Holly Black. Now, I don't really have a lot to say about these books. I enjoy them, the relationship between the main love interest in these ones, I feel alright about. They're not my favorite couple, but they're not my least favorite couple by any means. But I think this is a fun ride, but the second book is definitely the best book in the trilogy. I feel like this one has more stake in it than the rest of them. I feel like the first book is alright. It's definitely a good first book in the series. The second book feels entirely like its own, and the third book plays out more like a fairy tale novel. Now, if you're interested to know more of my thoughts about the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black, drop a comment if you want me to review it, because I will. But so far, the best sequel has been this one, especially the ending and the plot. What happens and the plans that get to... Like, if you've read it, you know what I mean. I'm trying not to spoil it for people who haven't read it yet, but this one is definitely worth checking out. Usually, I'm not really into fae novels. I say that even though I read, like, A Court of Thorns and Roses and Crescent City, but I'm beginning to really like reading fae novels, so if you have more suggestions about fae stories that you think I might be interested in, leave a comment, because I'm interested more to pick them up. Also, leave me a comment of your best enemies to lovers, because I'm in the mood for that. So, third question is the news release that I haven't read, but I want to. There's not really a lot of new releases that I was excited for. My release that I'm most excited for happens in December, and we'll get to that here in a minute, because it's one of the questions. But as far as, like, books I haven't read yet that I really want to get to Jesus, I don't know about that one. That's pretty interesting. Let me go ahead and pull up my Audible for a second, because that'll probably have a new release that I totally forgot about. So, let me see. New releases. I don't know. This is a very interesting question. question. I don't really have a lot of new releases, guys, actually. So this question, I'm just gonna go with, I'm just gonna say The Shadow Between Us by, Tracia Levenseller, I believe her name is. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I constantly have to see it on my For You page on my TikTok. So I've heard this is actually a very good book. So I might read that one as well as Crave. I don't know who it's by. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. But those two seem to be, like, very hyped. And I would love to read them and see what they're about. But so far, that's it for now. If I think of something, I'll probably pick it up, but that's it. Number 5 is most anticipated. Number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have, like, 3 of them so far. So of course the first one is gonna be Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. If people know me, they know I'm a Team Edward girl. I know that the Twilight novels can be problematic. I get that. I do see the problematic elements, especially whenever they're presented in 50 Shades of Grey, because that was based off Twilight fanfiction, if you didn't know. No, so I see those problematic elements, but I'm really interested to see Twilight from Edward's perspective, especially, like, the small tidbits that we got whenever it was first supposed to be released. Now, this one has a very convoluted history. She was gonna release it, and then half of her chapters got leaked, and then she was all like, okay, I'm not gonna release it, and then she was about to release it again, and then E.L. James kind of fucked that up for her by publishing Grey, so she's all like, nah, I'll do that. I'll, do it yet again, and now we're finally getting it, and I really hope to God that we don't have to wait for it for another 5 years, but I'm excited to see what she's gonna do with it. And then, next up on my most anticipated releases is, let me see if, because this is a mouthful. It's How the King of Elfane Learned to Hate stories. So this is basically a short story collection following Cardan from the Cruel Prince series. So I'm a little excited about that. That it's gonna be like 10 hours long, so it's probably gonna be a collection of short stories. So I'm excited to follow Cardan. Cardan is an okay part of the Cruel Prince series. Usually I have a love-hate relationship with Cardan, but I do think he is actually a very interesting, morally gray character, and I would love to follow his perspective. But the book, I'm gonna say it now, the book I am most excited for, that's probably gonna take my best book of 2020 is, it's not this one, but you know what's coming, is probably A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir, which is the 4th and final book of the Ember in the Ashes series. This is my second favorite series of all time. I love it, and even though I don't really like the main relationship in this book, I love the plot, and I love where the direction it's going in. I am so afraid that my favorite character in this book is gonna die, mostly because if you guys have seen the cover for A Sky Beyond the Storm, you know one character is missing from it, and it happens to be my favorite character, and I am gonna be so upset and crushed if they die, and I'm just gonna be like, ugh, like, I can't wait. Because I've been following Sabaa Tahir's Instagram stories for like 2 years, ever since she released A Reaper at the Gates, and I didn't expect to get A Sky Beyond the Storm this year. Boy, she surprised me by saying, hey, I'm releasing A Sky Beyond the Storm on December 2nd, I believe it comes out. So it's still a long way away. Anyways, I cannot wait to read this one. It's, like, if Crescent City fucking crushed my heart and soul with some of the content in here, I feel like this one right here is utterly gonna destroy me. Like, it's gonna fuck me up for life. I will probably be rereading an Ember in the Ashes series to prepare for A Sky Beyond the Storm, as well as rereading the Vampire Academy series because I felt like I really need a reread of that one. As well as I'm also going to reread A Court of Thorns and Roses series to prepare for the 4th book in the series when it comes out. Whenever it comes out. So I'm going to be doing a lot of rereading, but I cannot wait. Cannot wait for Sky Beyond the Storm. I'm super excited about it. I can't tell you how excited I am, but it's just, I feel like this is probably going to be hands down the best finale, because you know Sabata here is not afraid to fuck with our emotions, and I am here living for it. So number 5 is the biggest disappointment in 2020. I'm just gonna go with books that I DNF'd or will probably get through, but only because I feel like I'm not saying I'm obligated to read any books, but I feel like I just want to get it over with because I've already been like 50% through this book. But I'm just gonna go with A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I don't know what is it about this book I just don't like. I don't feel like it's as revolutionary as the rest of the Hunger Games series is. I don't really like President Snow to begin with, so following him as a main character just really sets me off. There is, like, only maybe 2 characters in this whole entire book that I like, and that is Sejamus and Lucy Gray Bard. If I'm gonna read it will probably be for them, honestly. But I was reading it constantly for about like 4 days straight, got halfway through, and then picked up the Cruel Prince series because, like I said, I got the box set for Cruel Prince. I picked up the Cruel Prince series and then stopped reading A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and then whenever I got back to A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I wasn't really meshing well with it. I wasn't connecting to the characters, so I picked up Crescent City instead and absolutely loved it. And now I tried to go back to A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I couldn't do it. I don't know what it is. I just, I'm also picking up a lot of other books. Like, I can't get through A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes right now, and I can't for the life of me get through Crown of Midnight. I'm trying. Like, guys, I'm seriously trying to get through these, and it's not working out for me. And I feel like there are just so many other books that I would love to get through, but I'm going to try to get through them. Fingers crossed that I can. So coming up next is the biggest surprise that I've had this year. Let me see. Actually, biggest surprise. I'm gonna go with, I want to say Crescent City, but I can't put Crescent City on, like, all of my answers. So I'm gonna go with another book that impressed me, and that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. Now, with horror-based novels, I tend to go a little bit slower on these ones, but this one, I love how fast-paced it is. And I actually really enjoyed this book for what it was. Usually, I'm a fan of horror. I'm a fan of movies and TV shows. Horror books, however, take me a little bit longer to get through, aka whenever I was reading It by Stephen King and it took me 2.5 years to get through that big chunker of a book, I got through it. It was worth it, but horror is one of those things where I'm so intimidated by the genre itself when it comes to horror novels that I don't tend to pick them up as often. often, because if you've seen horror novels, a lot of them are big chunkers of books. Like, they're huge. But I picked up this one, not really based off a recommendation. Let me try to pull up the channel name here, actually. Actually, I know this video is, like, super long, and I apologize. It's been a while since I've actually sat down and talked about books. Like, where is her channel? There we go. I'm sorry if I butcher your name. Murphy Napier, I believe, is her channel name. I love her. I think we have, like, very similar opinions about things. So, I wanted to get more of her recommendations for books. So, I think she recommended The Troop in one of her videos. So, I decided, hey, I trust this girl's opinion. Why not read something that she thoroughly enjoyed? So I picked up The Troop, and I didn't regret it. Thank you for the recommendation, by the way. I absolutely loved it. Loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good book. And it did surprise me, because usually I don't pick up this genre for various reasons, but I did enjoy this one. So number 7 is favorite new author, debut, or new to you. I'm gonna go with... God, there is no author that I actually really loved enough to say this is one of my favorite authors. But I'm gonna go with Holly Black. I look forward to the things that she writes in the future. Her writing style is very easy to get through, and I enjoy her story content, so I'll probably end up reading more of her books. So, number 8, newest fictional crush. I'm gonna bring up Crescent City again, because I feel like I love Hunt Athlar and Rune Dannon more than anything. This is my newest fictional crushes. These two right here. At the start, I didn't really appreciate them, but the more I got into the book, I was just all like, oh my god, I love these two. So, definitely these two. These two are definitely probably my newest fictional crush, along with Bryce. Like, I love Bryce Quinlan so much. But speaking of that, we're going on newest favorite character. I have a couple for this one. I love Bryce Quinlan more than anything in Crescent City. I feel like, as far as main protagonists go, I feel very connected to Bryce Quinlan and her journey, especially the way she deals and processes with grief. I do very similar things like she does when she's processing grief. So I feel like she's probably one of my favorite newest characters to follow, and it really breaks my heart that not a lot of people like her as a main character, but I do. This is the best part about books, though. We could all have different opinions, and one person that people don't like, a lot of other people can like, but Bryce Quinlan is definitely a main character that I learned to love and respect. Not only is she badass in her own way, she's very flawed, I believe. Flawed as well. And she's also sex positive, which I love sex positive main protagonists, because for a while there in novels, the golden virgin trope was definitely a thing, and I do appreciate moving away from that trope, because I don't feel like it's very harmful to girls my age or below to state that being a virgin is a bad thing, because it's not. But I feel like there should be more books with protagonists that are sex positive and not slut shaming protagonists because they have had sex with people. I feel like that's what we need more of, is sex positivity in novels, because it's not often a bad thing. It can lead to bad things, but it's not necessarily a bad thing to be sex positive and be totally confident in your body. I don't remember Bryce ever really putting herself down in this novel as well, which is great, because we need more body positive people in novels too, and not just like looking in the mirror and going like, ugh, I really hate this part of myself. I know that could be realistic too, but it's very nice to have a body and sex positive person in novels. You see that more in adult novels than you do young adult novels, and I wish it wasn't the case with young adult novels, because I feel like young adults really do need that protagonist that they could also look up to and say it's okay not to be society's, like, not to fit society's norms of your gender. So I feel like we need more of that, but Bryce Quinlan is definitely one of my favorite characters, as well as, gonna get that out, as well as Jude Duarte in The Cruel Prince. I feel like I enjoy her morally gray aspect. I love how she shows young adults and teens that it's okay to have a morally gray personality. Like, I do believe that not everyone is all good or all bad. We're all human and we all make mistakes, which Jude does. I love how human Jude feels. She could be very badass, but she could also make very gigantic, enormous mistakes, but she tries to fix them whenever she can, and I love that about her. Like, I love how realistic she is. Like, these two actually remind me a lot about my favorite protagonist ever, which is Rose Hathaway. Like, I feel like these ladies deserve more recognition, as well as Helene from the Ember and the Ashes series. I feel like all these ladies deserve the recognition for being very flawed characters, which I don't need, like, perfect characters. I don't need someone who will be all good or all bad. That's why I love morally gray characters, because it's very realistic with society, and I just, like, give me a morally gray character over someone who is all pure good or pure evil. Like, please. We need more of these characters, especially in young adult novels. Okay, so, a little ranty there, sorry. So, number 10 is a book that made me cry. I really want to hold up Crescent City again, because I bawled like a baby in Crescent City. Yeah, I think that is the only book that's ever came close to making me cry. Now, Crescent City made me cry for a variety of reasons, mostly because of how Bryce deals with her grief about the loss. This isn't really a spoiler, because I believe it's in the synopsis. Yeah, there we go. So this makes me cry when it deals with the death of Bryce's closest friends. Like, the betrayal of grief in this one really makes me cry. How it affects Bryce makes me cry. The way people treat her in this whole entire novel makes me cry, because people are just plain awful to Bryce, and they do it with, like, they do it because they feel justified in their hatred of Bryce, and I just mind blown with how awful people treat Bryce in this novel. But like I said, that made me cry. There's a lot of scenes that made me cry, especially the ending. The ending makes me cry a lot. The shower scene in this one also makes me cry. There's a lot of parts in this novel that made me cry, and if you want to see me get emotional, I'm definitely posting my spoiler reviews. I get emotional a lot in that review, and just, like, thinking about it, make me cry again. But I definitely love this book. As you could tell, it's most of my answers. Book that made me happy. I'm not gonna put up Crescent City, because there's also a lot of happy moments in that. But I'm gonna go with Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. After all this fantasy that I was reading, I decided just to pick up a light-hearted, fluffy contemporary, and Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating was that light-hearted and fluffy contemporary that I felt like I needed. So that one was fun, and there is a lot of scenes that made me happy and laugh out loud. So number 12 is the most beautiful book you bought so far this year. Um, again, this one is so beautiful. Let me show you how beautiful she is. Okay, not only do you have this cover, but you have this gorgeous art. Like, the back of it is kind of like meh to me. Like, the cover, like, how it looks naked is kind of like, eh. I enjoy this cover. This cover is one of my favorite covers. But if I had to pick a different answer for this one, I actually adore the cover to Queen of Nothing. Like, this is stunning. Stunning. I love this cover too. So if I had to pick beautiful covers, these two would be my beautiful covers. And last but not least, what books do I need to read before the year is up? Obviously, I need to read Midnight Sun. Obviously, I need to read A Sky Beyond the Storm. Those two will definitely be consumed. But right now I am working on Rebel Springs, which is the second book in the Falling Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. I stopped reading the series around the time that I was reading Throne of Glass, which is very weird for me because it wasn't that I didn't enjoy this book. I just never picked it up again for whatever reason. I need to get through A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, even though I don't want to, because I'm like 55% of the way in, so why not just continue with it. Same with Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I am 58% of the way through this one. I adore the relationship between Claire and Jamie. It's probably one of my favorite relationships of all time, honestly. So I feel like I just need to read it, but with Outlander, it's very tedious. There's a lot of information being given to me. There's just like a lot going on in this novel, but I love it all the same. Let me see what other book I need to do. I definitely need to get through The Blood of Elves, which is the first book in the Witcher series. I am 85% of the way through this book, so I really need to get through that. Same with The Institute by Stephen King, but I feel like that one's gonna take a little bit longer to get through, as well as Hunting Prince Dracula, because I'm like 60% of the way through that. So those are the ones that I need to get through. But there you guys have it. That was my mid-year book Freakout tag. Comment down below. Let me know everything you like about books, what you don't like about these books. I'm intrigued to know your opinions, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!